All right, ladies, welcome to Mindful Attraction 2.0. Let me set this up right now. It's not fall. Um, so in today's video, we're gonna be talking about how to prevent your boyfriend from breaking up with you, and 7 essential tips to keep him interested. Because I see this often where a lot of women get comfortable. They think he's always gonna be there, and that's when you lose the guy. All right. First of all, 100% of your relationships up until this point haven't worked out. Keep that in mind. Relationships are not meant to be forever, sadly, because it's eternity. We will die eventually. But I'm gonna show you some tips that will help you prevent those breakups, those unnecessary breakups when he would have loved you, he would have stayed with you if only you would have not fucked up. All right, and a lot of the times, a lot of women think that I'm always victim blaming. I'm blaming you guys, because I'm always saying things that you should stop doing to make him lose interest. I know, but it's a women's channel. This is all about empowering you, and that comes first of all through putting the responsibility on yourself so that you can improve upon your weaknesses. All right. So let's get started. So first of all, getting dumped by your boyfriend is one of the most painful experiences that a woman can go through, along with divorce from their husband. I don't have experience in that, getting dumped by my boyfriend. Right, I'm straight, but I've been dumped by a woman before, right? And it hurts, sucks ass. But there are things that you could do to prevent that, or at least minimize the chances of that happening. All right, so let's get started. The first thing you have to do is, the first tip is become aware of your insecurities. Why is this? It's because, for the most part, most men break up with women not because of their insecurities, but because of the actions that arise from their insecurities. A lot of times, your insecurities will cause you to see things that are not there, overreact to events, and project your own insecurities onto him. If a guy broke up with you, if a guy cheated on you, your brain is gonna be on defense mode, trying to look out for that thing from trying to prevent that thing from happening again. The problem with that is that it causes you to see things that are not there, to assume that he's already that he's going to hurt you one day. So what happens? You expect it. You act as if it's going to happen. You see, and that's the problem. That the actions that arise from your insecurity causes you to see illusions. And it's not the fact that you're seeing illusions, but the fact that you're not seeing the difference from your projections to reality, because you're so into your insecurity that you cannot see the world that your insecurity is creating. So what you have to do is go into the insecurity, go into the raw experience of being insecure. Feel the insecurity 100% without trying to justify it, or without trying to avoid your insecurity. Feel it in its raw sensation. Rather than experiencing the mental projections, see the raw sensation of your experience, because at the core of your insecurity, there is a raw physical experience, and that's where you want to go to, and that's where you want to stay. See the peripheral experience of your insecurity, which is the mental projections and your assumption, but go into the raw experience by feeling the sensation rather than going into the thought. Because what tends to happen is that it reveals to you its ephemeral nature, and it allows you to transcend your insecurity, so that rather than you being insecure, you are aware of your insecurities, and that gives you control, and it gives you the ability to be able to see your insecurity, but be able to still think straight and act in a way that's rational. Make sense? I'm telling you, this is the biggest thing, is becoming aware of your insecurities. Once you do that, everything gets better. All right? Second thing, don't nag, discuss. I'll tell you this, man. When I was in a long distance relationship with a girl, right, and everything was fine until we spent a weekend together. Not that we broke up, but that I started seeing how naggy she was. Like, she started like saying, maybe you should clean that up a little bit better. I'm like, okay, look, man, I get it. When you're with someone, you want to help them change, you want to improve them, but you gotta learn to pick your battles. All right, don't nag when in the moment when the mistake is made. It's much better to find them when you're both relaxed, in a relaxed state. We usually nag to people when we feel annoyed. That you shouldn't do that. When you feel annoyed, observe your annoyance. Observe yourself being annoyed, and give him time to relax as well, right? And then bring up the topic and discuss it. See how you guys can improve it. But you gotta be more pragmatic and more diplomatic about it, and not be so reactive. Talk about the problems. Discuss what you feel like. Hey, look, I don't feel like this. I think you should change this. I think you should change that. But be open to the fact that it may not happen. Because when you start nagging a guy, I'm telling you, man, nagging leads to a guy getting disinterested in you. All right? Take my word for it, girl. Number 3, push-pull. In most relationships, you want to show that you love the guy, right? And what tends to happen is that you're always showing interest, always texting, always responding fast. That's fine, but you gotta learn that there is a fine line between showing interest and showing too much interest, right? You have to give your man. I'm reading this. You have to give your man the feeling that there are other men. Don't be pull. Learn how to push as well. You see, one day be hot and the next day be cold. One day show a lot of LOLs in your text messages and a lot of emotions like emoticons, and the next day be bland and very crude in the way you text, like very boring and very pragmatic. Why? Because you want him to feel that what's going on here? Am I losing her? Am I losing her? You want him to feel that. You want to give him that push of I'm losing interest, and then that pull of nah, fuck that. I love you, man. I love you. Why? Because it makes you I love you feel even better. Once when you include the dynamic of pull and push, pull, and you gotta learn that. Is because a lot of women just want to spend time with their man 100% of the time, and that's fine. I understand, but you gotta be intelligent about it. You gotta realize that sometimes it can be a little bit too much interest, a little bit too much attention. It's not good. You gotta learn to show attention, show attraction, and then pull back so that you can give him space to chase you back. If you don't give a guy space to chase you back, you know what happens? He gets too suffocated. And you know what happens when a guy gets suffocated? He begins to lose interest. And that's dangerous. And it's not about your personality or who you are. It's all about having that little shift of one day showing interest, one day being overly emotional with him and showing a lot of interest, and the next day being tiny bit distant. Enough for it to be subtle but noticeable. You see? And if you struggle with that, watch my video on the two-step formula, the hot and cold tactic. Just watch it. You'll see it. It's a video. The thumbnails with me going like this. You'll see it, all right? Number 4, be physical. I'm talking about just being physical, like in sex, all right? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm being physical in terms of being active, going to the gym, doing yoga, working out, eating healthy, being active in your life, not just being at home and just cooking or whatever. No, doing things, man. Moving around, but the most part, getting in shape or at least being healthy. Let me tell you something, man. A lot of times when you feel like you have the guy, you know what happens? You start letting yourself go. I understand it's how the brain works. It's trying to preserve energy. The issue with that is that when you let yourself go, what happens? The guy starts noticing. Guys, look, man, that's the biggest complaint that guys have. I'm telling you, man. I was a dating coach for men. Man always told me, "Oh, bro, man, I love this girl, but as soon as we got in a relationship, you just start letting go." And it's not that guys are superficial, even though we are. I'm superficial, right? I'm superficial as fuck. But that it gets annoying that when you get the feeling that she's just not trying no more. Like you have to stay physical. You have to, because if you don't care about your physique and your appearance, then it just means that you're taking him for granted, and I'm getting ahead of myself. Number 5, you keep him in a sexually competitive state. You have to give your man the feeling that there are other men out there interested in you. If he doesn't have that feeling, he'll relax and let himself go, while at the same time not putting effort into the relationship, right? You gotta make him feel jealous from time to time and insinuate that you have other male friends in your life. That can be through activity, yoga, or salsa class, because when you do yoga or salsa class, especially salsa or bachata or dance, inevitably there's a guy that's going to be holding you, right? Or through other means. Either way, this has to be done because he has to know, oh, fuck, there's other guys out there that might be interested in her. And when he feels that, what happens? As guys, they get competitive in a sexual way. They'll actually start working for you. They'll actually start working out even more. They'll get the motivation to get in the gym. They'll get the motivation to try to find ways to woo you and impress you. And you want that, don't you? I know you do, motherfucker, right? But in order for him to do that, he has to see there's other guys out there that might be interested in you. For example, I was talking about this yesterday with guys I told them that the easiest way to get a guy to approach a woman is to tell him this: if you don't approach her, I will. You know what happens? Instantly they approach. You want to know why? because they'll say, shit, if what happens if she's nice? I don't want him to get this girl, and they approach. It's a competitive. They get competitive about it. So as guys, when you see other guys interested in you, you know what happens? You grab onto your girl a little bit more. You keep her, like you try to claim her. But the only way for him to do that is to keep him sexually competitive, and the only way for you to do that is to let him know in subtle ways that there are other guys out there. See what I'm saying? You can watch the video on how to make a man jealous, and that's gonna explain that at a deeper level. Number B, number 6. Be indispensable. Provide support. This is other ways, right? One of the ways to increase your value as a person is to provide something that most people cannot provide. It's to fill someone's need that not many people could fill. So one of the ways you can do this is to find a man's weakness. Find whatever he's insecure about. Or even better, find what his goals are and become an anchor of support. Support him in his insecurities. Support him in the things he's trying to do in life. Try to give him that motivation, that confidence. What tends to happen is that you suddenly become his anchor of support. He begins to see you as a source of confidence. You see, for example, there's one girl who the last girl that I was seeing, she was actually what initiated me trying to like improve my life, earn more income, and just transcend where I was in life. And because of that, I will always be thankful for her because she motivated me to do more in life, right? We're not together anymore, but that's the point, is that I remember her for that. Now, that she became indispensable to for a certain period because of that. I always wanted to talk to her whenever I felt insecure, whenever I felt sad, whenever I felt like I was losing faith. I always came back to her. So what tends to happen is that it created that support system, that motherly, maternal support system on top of the sexual attraction that I have for her. It rounds out the attraction, and it keeps the guy interested, and it keeps the guy dependent on your support. You see what I'm saying? And that's a part that a lot of women miss out, is that you have to find something that he's insecure about and support him. Give him compliments based on his insecurity, not on his strengths. And the last one, and most important, don't take him for granted. Motherfuckers, man, don't take him for granted. When you take a guy for granted, you stop working to keep him interested. And I'm reading off of it because this is important. It's that simple. You begin to neglect them and yourself. You begin to neglect him, which is you stop trying to woo him. You start trying to keep him interested. And also, you neglect yourself. You'll stop trying to keep yourself up to date in terms of fashion. You'll stop trying to try to look nice when you're around them, right? How you'll think he will always love you. That's what happens. So you stop working on yourself and on the relationship. This happens very often. This happens to me. This happens to you. This happens with the relationship we have with our loved ones, right? You have to realize that there is a good chance that one day in the future he's gonna lose interest. Having this in mind keeps the motivation at a fever pitch, and so taking him for granted will not be there anymore. You'll try to find ways to keep him interested, not out of insecurity, but out of appreciation of who he is. Sorry, my phone rang, right? But anyways, so that's the thing, is that you would take him for granted and you think he's always gonna love you, and that's when other women will sneak in there and actually get him. Why? Because you thought he was always gonna be there, and that's a problem. You have to realize that one day you may lose him, and when you have that in mind, you always be thinking of things to impress him, always be thinking of things to keep the relationship alive. And that simple effort, he'll see that effort. And I'm telling you, these things are very simple, but they prevent breakups, because most breakups happen because of the natural occurrence of relationships, and also because of lack of appreciation. It's that simple. Anyways, this is Alex from mindforattraction.org. If you guys want one-on-one coaching, just go to mindforattraction.org/in-the-game coaching. If you guys want to attend my seminars, just go to mindforattraction.org and you'll see the seminar. I also provide this service to men. Jesus Christ, she's beautiful. I also provide the service to men where I break down their dates and their interactions with women. I also provide that to you guys. If you guys are interested in that, like if you guys are on a date, or you guys talk to your husbands or boyfriends and you think you might be in the wrong, record it, right? And send it to me, and I'll give you my breakdown based on what I believe you're doing wrong. All right? It's all at a fee. Go email me about that, message me, and if you're interested in that, that's a service I provide for men, but some women message me because they're interested in that. Anyways, it's Alex from mindfulattraction.org. If you guys need, oops, have a good day. Bye bye.